Welcome back, dear viewers, to another spine-chilling episode of our haunted storytelling series. If this is your first time joining us, your guide through the eerie and unexplained. Together, we've explored countless tales of terror, from abandoned asylums to cursed forests. But tonight's journey takes us deep into the heart of one of the world's most iconic cities, New York. In this first installment of Most Haunted Places in New York, we'll delve into locations steeped in history, tragedy, and whispers of the supernatural. This isn't just a tour, it's an odyssey into the unknown. New York City, often hailed as the city that never sleeps, holds secrets that defy logic and challenge the boundaries of reality. Beneath its towering skyscrapers, bustling streets, and vibrant neighborhoods lies a shadowy underbelly, a labyrinth of haunted sites where the past refuses to stay buried. From historic theaters and forgotten hospitals to sprawling cemeteries and subterranean tunnels, each location we'll explore tonight carries its own ghostly inhabitants, chilling legends, and unique aura that will send shivers down your spine. Whether you're a seasoned horror enthusiast or someone simply curious about the darker side of the city's storied history, this episode promises something for everyone. So, grab your favorite blanket, dim the lights, and prepare yourself for an unforgettable exploration. By the end of this video, you'll not only have a deeper understanding of New York's haunted past but also a newfound appreciation for the unseen forces that linger just beyond the veil of our everyday lives. Let's begin, shall we? The ghosts of Greenwich Village, echoes from the Merchant's House Museum. Nestled in the heart of Manhattan's Greenwich Village, the Merchant's House Museum stands as one of New York's most iconic, and allegedly most haunted, landmarks. Built in 1832, this Federal-style brick townhouse served as the home of the Treadwell family for nearly a century, preserving a slice of 19th-century life within its walls. However, beneath its elegant facade and meticulously preserved interiors lies a tapestry of spectral intrigue, where the boundary between the living and the dead feels perilously thin. Two figures loom large over the museum's haunted legacy, the enigmatic Gertrude Treadwell and the mysterious Seabury Treadwell, whose stories intertwine to create a haunting narrative that continues to captivate visitors to this day. Gertrude Treadwell, the youngest daughter of Seabury and Eliza Treadwell, was born in 1840 and lived in the house until her death in 1933 at the age of 93. Known for her fierce attachment to the family home, Gertrude became a recluse in her later years, refusing to modernize the house or adapt to the changing world outside its walls. Her devotion to preserving the past has earned her a place in local lore, not just as a historical figure but as a spectral presence said to haunt the museum. Visitors and staff alike have reported strange phenomena tied to Gertrude's spirit, from disembodied footsteps echoing through empty hallways to the faint sound of a piano playing in rooms devoid of instruments. One particularly chilling account involves a tour guide who swore she saw a woman in period-appropriate attire standing at the top of the staircase, her expression mournful yet resolute. When approached, the figure vanished without a trace, leaving behind only the faint scent of lavender perfume. Skeptics dismiss such sightings as tricks of the light or overactive imaginations, but believers argue that Gertrude's spirit remains tethered to the house she called home for nearly a century, unable, or unwilling, to leave the world she cherished so deeply. Equally intriguing is the spectral presence of Seabury Treadwell, the patriarch of the family and a successful hardware merchant in his time. Though he passed away in 1865, long before the museum opened to the public, his influence is said to linger within its walls. Staff members frequently recount encounters with a stern, shadowy figure believed to be Seabury himself, watching over the house with an air of authority. Some describe feeling an overwhelming sense of being watched while working late at night, only to turn and find no one there. Others report hearing the sound of heavy boots pacing the floorboards, accompanied by the faint rustle of fabric as though someone is adjusting their coat. One particularly unnerving tale involves a janitor who claimed to have felt an icy hand grasp his shoulder while cleaning the parlor. When he turned to confront the source, he found himself face to face with a gaunt, translucent man dressed in 19th-century attire, his hollow eyes fixed on him before vanishing into thin air. Believers suggest that Seabury's spirit remains bound to the house by a sense of duty, ensuring that his family's legacy, and perhaps even his wealth, is safeguarded for eternity. Together, the legends of Gertrude and Seabury Treadwell paint a vivid portrait of the Merchant's House Museum as a place where history and horror converge. Its opulent parlors and luxurious bedrooms may exude elegance, but beneath its polished surface lies a labyrinth of sorrow and mystery. As we leave this haunted haven behind, the echoes of its past continue to reverberate, urging us to reflect on the fragility of life and the enduring power of memory. The haunting of Times Square Theater. Amid the ceaseless thrum of Times Square, where neon lights pulse like veins and crowds surge like tides, lies a hidden world few dare to explore. Beneath the glittering marquees and towering billboards, the subterranean depths tell a story far removed from the glamour above. Here, in the bowels of the city, lies the long-forgotten Times Square Theater, a once majestic venue reduced to ruin, and the enigmatic Knickerbocker Hotel, a monument to both luxury and despair. These places are not just relics of New York's gilded past, they are vessels of tragedy, their walls imbued with the sorrow of those who once walked their halls. The Times Square Theater, built in 1920, was once a crown jewel of Broadway, hosting vaudeville acts, silent films, and the luminaries of the entertainment world. But as the decades rolled by, its star dimmed. By the mid-20th century, the theater had fallen into disrepair, becoming a haven for the destitute and desperate. Its decline mirrored the area's own descent into chaos, a haven for crime, vice, and urban decay. Yet, it wasn't just the physical structure that crumbled. The theater became a magnet for tragedy. Stories abound of performers who met untimely ends within its walls, their dreams extinguished as brutally as the marquee lights outside. Today, those who dare to venture into its decaying interior speak of strange phenomena. Shadows flit across empty stages, phantom applause echoes through vacant corridors, and disembodied voices whisper lines from forgotten plays. Some claim to see apparitions of actors dressed in outdated costumes, rehearsing scenes that ended long ago. Is it the restless spirits of those who perished here, unable to accept the final curtain call? Or does the building itself hold on to the energy of its tragic past, replaying its darkest moments like a broken record? Not far from the theater stands the Knickerbocker Hotel, a name synonymous with elegance and scandal. Opened in 1906, the hotel quickly became a playground for New York's elite, hosting luminaries such as Enrico Caruso and F. Scott Fitzgerald. However, beneath its gilded facade lay a darker narrative. The hotel gained infamy in 1929 when George Gershwin composed Rhapsody in Blue. Within its walls, a triumph overshadowed by tragedy just years later. On January 5, 1923, John Jack Roebling II, heir to the Roebling steel fortune, leapt to his death from the roof of the Knickerbocker. His suicide sent shockwaves through high society, but it was only the beginning. Over the decades, the hotel became a site of other mysterious deaths, including a young woman found lifeless in one of its opulent suites. Guests and staff have reported eerie occurrences ever since: the sound of footsteps pacing the halls late at night, the sensation of being watched by unseen eyes, and the faint scent of cigar smoke wafting through sealed-off areas. Perhaps most chilling are the sightings of a man in a vintage suit, standing motionless near the rooftop, a spectral figure believed to be Jack Roebling himself, forever trapped in the moment of his final leap. These two sights encapsulate the duality of Times Square, a place of dazzling spectacle and profound darkness. Their histories remind us that beneath every shining surface lies a shadow, and that the ghosts of the past are rarely content to stay buried. As we ascend back to the neon-lit chaos above, we carry with us the weight of their stories, knowing that the heartbeat of Times Square is not just one of celebration, but also of sorrow. The haunting depths of New York's underworld. Beneath the gleaming skyscrapers and bustling streets of New York City lies a labyrinthine underworld that pulses with life, and perhaps, with something more sinister. The city's subway system, an intricate network spanning hundreds of miles, serves as the lifeblood of daily commutes and late-night adventures. But for all its utility, the subway harbors secrets that defy explanation. Among its countless stations and tunnels lie two locations steeped in mystery and fear: the abandoned City Hall Station and the ominous 42nd Street Shuttle Tunnel. These sites, shrouded in darkness and lore, have become fertile ground for tales of spectral encounters and inexplicable phenomena, The City Hall Station, once hailed as a masterpiece of architectural brilliance, opened in 1904 as the inaugural station of New York's first subway line. Designed with elegant Guastavino tiled arches and skylights that bathed the platform in natural light, it was intended to be a testament to the city's progress and ambition. However, as trains grew longer and the station's curved tracks proved incompatible with modern rail systems, it was decommissioned in 1945. Since then, it has remained largely untouched, a time capsule frozen in an era long past. But it is not the station's beauty that draws attention, it is the persistent reports of paranormal activity. Transit workers and urban explorers who have ventured into its depths recount chilling experiences, flickering lights that seem to respond to unseen presences, disembodied voices echoing through the cavernous space, and the unmistakable sensation of being followed by unseen eyes. Some claim to have seen shadowy figures standing on the platform, clad in clothing reminiscent of the early 20th century, while others describe feeling an icy grip on their shoulders when no one is near. The most disturbing accounts involve a spectral conductor who appears to signal phantom trains, his lantern swinging ominously in the gloom. Could these manifestations be the remnants of those who once worked or traveled through the station, unwilling, or unable, to leave behind the world they knew? Equally foreboding is the 42nd Street Shuttle Tunnel, a stretch of track connecting Grand Central Terminal to Times Square. While operational, this tunnel has earned a reputation as one of the most haunted sections of the subway system. Riders and employees alike have reported a host of unsettling occurrences, from sudden drops in temperature to the sound of distant footsteps reverberating through the enclosed space. One particularly infamous legend speaks of a woman known only as the Lady in White. Said to haunt the tunnel near midnight, she appears as a translucent figure dressed in flowing white garments, her face obscured by a veil. Witnesses describe her as eerily silent, gliding alongside trains before vanishing without a trace. Others claim to hear her mournful wails, a sound so piercing it can be heard over the roar of passing trains. Local folklore suggests she may have been a victim of a tragic accident within the tunnel, her spirit bound to the place of her demise. Adding to the unease are reports of shadowy figures lurking in the corners of vision, disappearing when approached, and the pervasive feeling of being watched even in the densest crowds. These haunted locales underscore the dual nature of New York's subway system, a marvel of engineering and efficiency, yet also a repository for the city's darkest secrets. The abandoned platforms and forgotten tunnels serve as liminal spaces where the boundaries between the living and the dead blur, inviting speculation about what, or who, might dwell within. As trains thunder overhead and commuters rush to their destinations, few pause to consider the spectral passengers who may share their journey. For those brave enough to peer into the abyss, the subway reveals not just a network of tracks and tunnels, but a realm where the past lingers, refusing to be forgotten. Connecting New York's haunted tapestry as we weave together the spectral narratives of New York's most haunted places, a profound pattern emerges, one that transcends individual locations to reveal a shared tapestry of human experience. From the submerged ruins of Old Forsyth beneath Bull Shoals Lake to the oppressive corridors of Tucker Unit Prison, from the Gothic elegance of Crescent Hotel to the eerie isolation of Bell Witch Cave, these sites are not merely repositories of the dead. They are mirrors reflecting the collective emotions, struggles, and aspirations of the living. Each haunted locale, though unique in its history and geography, resonates with universal themes of love, loss, and the unrelenting passage of time, binding them together in a symphony of shadows that speaks to the very core of what it means to be human. Consider the parallels between the tragic figure of Julia Tuttle and the spectral soldiers of the Confederate section. Both represent lives extinguished far too soon, their premature deaths leaving behind a void that defies closure. Tuttle's restless spirit wanders the cemetery, searching for absolution or fulfillment, much like the ghostly soldiers who march eternally across the battlefield of memory. These stories remind us that death is not an end but a transition, one that leaves ripples in the lives of those left behind, shaping how we remember and honor the departed. The haunting tales of Dr. James Jackson further underscore the universality of these themes. His comforting presence near his grave evokes the timeless tension between mortality and immortality. His spectral vigil serves as a reminder of the fragility of life and the ways in which systemic neglect and abuse can haunt individuals long after their physical demise. Likewise, the mournful whispers of the Confederate section reflect humanity's enduring fascination with justice and accountability. Whether it's the vengeful cries of fallen soldiers or the shadowy entities lurking in the cemetery's corners, these apparitions embody the consequences of actions taken, or not taken, in life, suggesting that accountability extends beyond the grave. Even the architectural elements of the cemetery contribute to its interconnectedness. The weathered stones of Jackson's modest headstone mirror the crumbling markers of the Confederate section, while the ornate mausoleums echo the isolation of the unmarked graves scattered throughout the grounds. These structures serve as visual metaphors for the permanence of memory and the impermanence of life itself. They remind us that every grave, every shadow, and every whispered echo carries the weight of lives cut tragically short, urging visitors to consider how their own lives might be remembered, or forgotten, when they are gone. What ties these haunted sites together most profoundly is their ability to transform personal tragedies into universal truths. Whether it's the mournful wail of a mother in Gettysburg or the faint laughter of a child in Bonaventure, these spectral echoes speak to something deeply ingrained in the human psyche: the desire to connect, to understand, and to find meaning in the face of mortality. They challenge us to confront our own fears and vulnerabilities, urging us to acknowledge the ephemeral nature of life while celebrating the enduring power of memory. Ultimately, the connection between these haunted places lies in their capacity to transcend the boundaries of time and space, linking the living to the dead in ways both tangible and intangible. They remind us that the past is never truly buried. It lingers in the whispers of the wind, the chill of the night, and the shadows that stretch across the ground. And in doing so, they invite us to reflect not only on the stories of those who came before us but also on the legacies we wish to leave behind. For in the end, the true haunting is not the presence of ghosts, it is the realization that our lives, too, are part of a continuum, forever entwined with the eternal cycle of memory and forgetting. Reflections on New York's eternal mysteries. As we bring this spectral journey through New York's most haunted places to a close, one truth becomes abundantly clear. These sacred grounds and forsaken spaces are far more than mere settings for ghost stories. They are portals to the soul of humanity itself. From the submerged ruins of Old Forsyth beneath Bull Shoals Lake to the oppressive corridors of Tucker Unit Prison, from the Gothic elegance of Crescent Hotel to the eerie isolation of Bell Witch Cave, each site we've explored serves as a testament to the enduring power of memory, the weight of unresolved grief, and the universal quest for meaning in the face of mortality. These haunting tales are not isolated curiosities but threads in the intricate tapestry of human existence, weaving together themes of love, loss, and legacy that transcend time and place. What makes these locations truly significant is their ability to blur the boundaries between the living and the dead, the past and the present. They remind us that death is not an end but a continuation, a lingering presence that shapes how we navigate the world and understand our place within it. Whether it's the ghostly laughter of Michael at Crescent Hotel or the anguished cries of inmates in Tucker Unit Prison, these stories compel us to confront uncomfortable truths about our own mortality and the legacies we leave behind. They challenge us to reflect on the choices we make in life and the impact those choices have on the generations that follow. But perhaps the most profound takeaway from these haunted locales is their universality. While the settings may differ, from the serene waters of Bull Shoals Lake to the rusted bars of Tucker Unit Prison, the emotions they evoke are timeless and relatable. Fear, longing, hope, and sorrow are threads that bind us all, transcending the boundaries of culture, geography, and era. In the ghostly whispers of these places, we find not just the stories of others but fragments of our own humanity. These spirits, whether real or imagined, ask us to pause and consider, what do we leave behind when our time comes? How do we want to be remembered? And what unseen forces shape the world we inhabit? As you step away from this episode, I encourage you to carry these reflections with you. Let them linger in your mind as you walk the streets of your own town or wander through a forgotten corner of Arkansas. Because in the end, the true power of these haunted tales lies not in their ability to scare us but in their capacity to connect us, to the past, to each other, and to the mysteries that bind us all. Until next time, keep your eyes open, your heart curious, and your mind ready to embrace the unknown. Good night, and sweet dreams.